It's a dystopian, sick society that we have to email and hope and pray that YouTubers will give us like an ounce of money so we can make it through this month, so we can live, right? I think it's sick and it's disgusting. And I think I don't think there's anything wrong with people being mad at it, but being mad at just like some YouTubers for doing the right thing isn't going to help. And it's only going to turn people off, okay? I emailed 100 Twitter users and went to their homes to see which one had the most disgusting room. Number 1 is going to blow your mind. What's going on, everybody? I want to talk to you guys about something that's incredibly interesting. A couple of days ago, Mr.Beast released a video. The Mr.Beast. Mr. Moneybags extraordinaire, IRL Squid Games enjoyer, the guy who gives people random amounts of money and throws it at them and has a great time and makes videos that get a lot of views. He released this video a couple of days ago.
In this video, we're curing 1,000 people's blindness. It's gonna be crazy.
So, anyways, he cured people's blindness. True. And some of you may be thinking, is he literal God? Is he the second coming of Jesus Christ himself? No, I'm pretty sure he's just a YouTuber with a lot of money, because he didn't cure blindness by waving his hand over them and forgiving them of their sins. He cured blindness with something even more incredible to your average person than otherworldly metaphysical powers. Money.
Most of us see the world like this. But here's the thing, 200 million people see the world like this. But I just made it one less.
Oh. Wow.
She's just one of 1,000 blind people we helped from around the world.
They can't see, but we have all the technology to fix it.
Yep, half of all the blindness in the world is people who need a 10-minute surgery.
Quite remarkable, isn't it? Half of all the blind people in the world, half of the people who are legally blind just need a 10-minute surgery and they'll be able to see perfectly fine again. It's quite strange how that works out, isn't it? That those people can't afford or get a 10-minute surgery, right? Weird. Now, this video is interesting and we're going to talk about it in like just a moment, but I want to talk about something that's more important than helping blind people, which is Twitter drama. Which, you know, we all know. It's incredible, isn't it? What happened is that there were people who saw this video and had some problems with it, okay? Understandable, you know? Not everybody likes everything, but some of the problems that people had were contentious, to say the least. Or there are a lot of people who are saying things along the lines of, oh, Mr.Beast is exploitative, he's exploiting these people, he's taking things from them, he's using them as pawns, he doesn't necessarily care. A lot of things like that. And there were a lot of people who did it, who said those things. But it's one of those situations where, one of those situations where you hear somebody say that somebody said something and then you go to look for when somebody said it, but you can't find it because all that you can actually find are people saying that they can't believe somebody said something that they said. Oh gosh, that's an eyeball. all you can find is like other people saying that somebody said something, but you can't actually like find the people who said that the thing that everybody is complaining about. You can't find those people saying that thing at all. It's just like everybody saying that somebody said that thing. Not saying that those people aren't real. They are real, but it's just like the amount of people who said the thing to the amount of people who disagreed and now have completely drowned out everybody, and now everybody's just talking amongst themselves about the person that a lot of them haven't even seen say the thing. And how bad it is and everything, and now everybody's talking about it, right? It's just like one of those things. Now, I think this is a really interesting topic because when it comes to like rich people and money and philanthropy and all these types of things, there are a lot of ways that we can go about it. But I think like sticking on one thing would be important, right? Even Hard Drive commented on it. Government fears Mr.Beast will inspire a wave of copycat philanthropy. Crazy, right? I think this is all incredibly interesting because there are people coming at this from like good intentions on both sides, right? I'm gonna both sides it, okay? I'm gonna do a simple lefty both sides arena. I'm gonna just come out and say it and say that Mr.Beast videos make me mad. I don't watch Mr.Beast videos because they make me mad. A lot of them do. They make me mad and they make me upset. I don't think Mr.Beast videos are very fun. I don't think Mr.Beast videos are something that I really like to watch. I don't think they're very cool. I think they're just kind of sad. I think they're really sad, actually, in like a really kind of disheartening way. And some people may be like, why would you say that? He's literally curing like 1,000 people of blindness. That's true. And that is good. And another thing that I'd like to put out here at first is I think it's good that rich people use their money for good things. People doing good things with money is good, and people doing bad things with money is bad, right? But I don't think that Mr. Beast is a good or bad person. I don't know Mr. Beast enough to say that he's a good or bad person. I know that he uses his money for good things sometimes, and that's a good thing, because when people do good things, that's good, and when they do bad things, that's bad. And I'll criticize the bad things that they do because they're bad, and I'll praise the good things that they'll do because they're good. But I don't like Mr. Beast videos because they simply just make me angry. Think about that for a moment, right? 1,000 people. That's a lot of people that you can like, a lot of you don't even know 1,000 people necessarily if you had the option to. You don't know 1,000 people's like real names. You've never interacted in like an interpersonal level with 1,000 people. 1,000 people isn't the amount of people who watch my streams on average. That's a lot of people in like an interpersonal level. But in the world, it's not a lot of people. There are millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people possibly who are suffering from these conditions, and only 1,000 people got helped. That's not a lot. And it's great that those people got helped, but I think it's really telling that a lot of people are still out there who will never get helped. And I think it's incredibly sad that there's so many people who will never be able to see when they could, when all it takes is like the money and a 10-minute surgery to go under the knife, and it's like a 99% chance that you're going to come out on the other side being completely your eyesight being completely fixed, right? I think that's an incredible injustice. I think it's an incredibly sad, disgusting thing that in this world almost nobody from so many countries will ever be able to get this level of help or care at all. It's horrible. And it's not Mr. Beast's fault that these people are suffering, so I'm not going to blame him. I'm going to praise him for doing something good, but I also am going to tell you that Mr. Beast cannot help everybody. If Mr. Beast used every cent of every AdSense payout that he got from YouTube, he wouldn't be able to help all these people for the rest of his life. If he got 2 lifetimes, 3 lifetimes and did the same exact thing, he would never be able to help everybody who is suffering. Is this just no possible way? It's not something that the handful of billionaires in our world can do, and the multiple and like the many millionaires in our world can do. If they all piled together their money, they still possibly couldn't help all these blind people, or all the people who need help, or all the people suffering and not being able to put food on the table, people living for $5 a day in many countries. They couldn't do it. And that's why we can't rely on people like Mr. Beast. I'm angry when I watch Mr. Beast videos. It's not his fault that I'm angry, and I don't blame him that I'm angry, and you shouldn't either. If you don't like these videos, don't say that he's a bad person. Talk about the system that made these videos possible. These videos shouldn't exist. Mr. Beast shouldn't be making videos about curing blind people, because there should be no blind people that a YouTuber can step in and help. There shouldn't be any. They shouldn't have to. The people are going, because the reason why I said earlier that I wanted to get out of the way that people using their money for good things is good, because I can tell you that at this very moment in time, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there's going to be somebody typing away to talk about how much I hate good people doing good things with their money, when it's not true. I love it when people do good things with their money. I don't think that they have to. I don't think that they should. I don't think that I should have to put away money every week to help people, like friends and family and other people who I don't know, like make it through this month and not be put on the street. I think it's disgusting that GoFundMe went from something in which it should be helping people do like fun hobbies and odd ends and bits to being like a service that only basically helps people not be on the street and get from being homeless and put food on the table and feed their pets. I think that's disgusting, and like making sure that they don't go into abject poverty and permanent bankruptcy because of a treatable illness that they got that they couldn't go to the doctor for because they didn't have health insurance, because they didn't have the money because it's too expensive. I think that's disgusting. And the fact that this video by Mr. Beast and videos like it exist is a testament to that cancer in our society. Does that make it, is that his fault? No, it's not. And it's good that he's doing something nice, but it's disgusting that he's doing it. There are people at this very moment in time who are mad, who are angry at me for thinking that it's disgusting that poor people have to beg a YouTuber for healthcare. Think about that for a second. Sit on that for a moment. There are people across this world who have to hope and pray that their email gets answered by a YouTuber to make sure that they're going to be able to go to work and feed their kids. That's horrible. What is that? It's a symptom of the system that we have. That this is the case. And there's no amount of philanthropy that's going to do it. And I think that people's general disdain for philanthropy comes from a good place. It is true that people launder their image through philanthropy to take away from the fact that they made so much money over the course of their lives by doing nothing but exploiting the working class and people who live in their cars and scraping money off of them to make themselves the richest people who have ever existed and probably will ever exist on planet Earth. I think that's very true. And that's real, and you should be skeptical about that, and that should make you mad. But Mr. Beast makes YouTube videos. You directing your anger at him will not make this system better. It won't do anything, because he doesn't necessarily exploit people in the same way that Bezos and Musk and Zuck and all of these other people who own businesses and make things and who have been sued for committing wage theft and have some of the worst working environments on planet Earth to make sure that they make just a single more dollar off of your mom and your dad and your grandma who's sitting in her house cutting pills because she doesn't want her water to get shut off this month. Okay? I think it's sick. It's sick of it's a dystopian, sick society that we have to email and hope and pray that YouTubers will give us like an ounce of money so we can make it through this month so we can live, right? I think it's sick and it's disgusting. And I think I don't think there's anything wrong with people being mad at it, but being mad at just like some YouTubers for doing the right thing isn't going to help. And it's only going to turn people off. Okay. And you can just listen and take a look at some of these people who are being helped. Who are some of these people who are being helped in these Mr. Beast videos? Is the majority of people who are being helped from these videos in like Canada and the UK and Germany and Denmark and Norway and Sweden? Are they in Spain or Portugal? Are they? No. The majority of people are not from these countries. They're from places where they don't have the ability to get these things, where the wealth inequality is so massive. These developing nations, these poor nations, we'll talk about that in a moment, where they have to come from and get them. Those poor nations and America, which is just 5 corporations in a trench coat cosplaying as a country. These are the places where these people come from, where they have these debilitating cataracts, where they have horrible vision that they cannot fix because they can't afford to get it fixed, and they don't have the ability to be put on healthcare that would allow them to be able to get this fixed without throwing them in abject poverty until they have to gamble with their lives. Am I just going to go through life not being able to see, or am I going to like beg and plead for a surgery that I'll never recover from, and I'll just be poor then, and I won't be disabled but I'm going to be poor for the rest of my life, and so like my future will be disabled just in a different way. I don't think that's a gamble that somebody should make. I really don't think so. And these people from these like poor nations, there's no such thing as a poor nation, right? There's no such thing as a poor country. There is none. We talk about developing nations. We talk about third world nations. There is no such thing as a poor nation. There's only poor people who are in nations. Those nations are wealthy. And they always have been. Think of it. Why in the world do corporations go to poor nations? You wouldn't go to poor nations to make money. There's nothing to make there because they're poor. If you want to see an actual poor place, look at these corporations pulling out of places in places like America. Actual poor places from like America, and they're gone. These people don't have anything going for them. And though like our corporations in our countries love going to these so-called poor nations, what are they going for? It's definitely not nothing. It's something. These nations are rich. They always have been rich. It's just been taken from them by richer nations who plunder them for their wealth and resources. The copper, the wood, the emeralds, the diamonds, the jewels, the spices, the land, the water, the people as slaves. Some of these nations have been completely sucked dry. Congo is not a poor nation. South Africa is not a poor nation. Ethiopia and Kenya are not poor nations. None of these, Chile is not a poor nation. Argentina and other places, Laos and Vietnam and the Philippines, these aren't poor nations. The oil, another one. If the people weren't able to capitalize on it themselves, or even if they were, a lot of those places were overrun and overthrown for other nations to be sapped dry and then taken somewhere else. India is not a poor nation. India is covered in gold. It was the British Raj that turned them into a poor nation. They've always been a rich nation, and they still are today. They're only filled with poor people. And those people are suffering day in and day out. We take everything from these people, and then we come back and go, oh my gosh, look at you, you're so poor. You poor baby. How about you have just like a little pinch of what we took from you back? That feels better now, wouldn't it? While we still hamper and trample on these nations over and over again, all through life and all through time, even to this very day with imperialism, still to this very day. I think it's fine to be mad at Mr.Beast videos. I think it's good to be mad at Mr.Beast videos. I think it's good to be mad at all of this. I think it's good to be mad at philanthropy. Not because philanthropy is bad, but the fact that it exists. A lot of people will talk about, oh, I don't want to be one of those communist breadline nations. Then what's this? This is worse than a breadline nation. Because at least those nations had breadlines. We don't have breadlines. Instead of people standing in breadlines because they're starving, they just die silently and quietly, like their lives didn't mean anything at all. That's what's going on. That's what's always been going on. It's not Mr.Beast's fault that these people are poor. It's not his fault that philanthropy is honestly sometimes needed. I think it's sick that I have to use my Discord from time to time to help people promote their GoFundMes to make ends meet, to make sure that they won't be homeless. I think it's sick that we need to like promote people's GoFundMes and you feel disgusting after scrolling by like your 5th GoFundMe you've seen online today because you don't have any money to give anymore. As they're begging and pleading for help to make sure that they won't be kicked out of their homes, and begging and pleading that they've been suffering from a curable disease for as long as they remember, and they're in debilitating pain every single day. I think it's disgusting. It's a horrible, broken system. I think it's disgusting that in the supposed first world nation here in America, we're going to talk about America for a second, that there are people who get E. coli and who are living in their cars. Well, we have the most disgusting, opulent wealth the world has ever seen and may ever see. And we still have breadlines to this very day. We have heating stations and cooling stations. We have Feeding America and other food drives to make sure that people aren't poor, to make sure that people won't starve. I think it's sick. It's disgusting, but this is the world that we live in. And some people would happily live in that world unquestioningly because they got theirs, so fuck you. I know you've experienced what it's like. More likely than not, you listening right now have experienced what it's like to not know if you're going to be in your apartment next month. I know a lot of you have experienced what it's like skipping a meal because you don't know if you're going to be able to afford it. And going to bed hungry because you don't know if you have to ration your money because you're not sure if you're going to be able to pay for what you need. I know a lot of you have experienced it. I know some of you went to school hungry because you couldn't afford to pay for lunch. I know some of you unfortunately had to ask and beg the office at school to give you food because you can't eat at home and your parents can't afford to eat at school, which is disgusting. People love to compare prisons to schools. Honestly, I think prisons, at least in this country, are typically better than schools because the rate of shootings in prisons are actually way lower than in schools these days. And on top of that, at least you get lunch for free. It's crazy. But apparently I'm the bad guy for pointing this out. Mr. Beast isn't a bad man. I think it's good that he's using his money for good things. I think more YouTubers should do it. I'm glad that I don't like iShowSpeed, but I'm glad iShowSpeed and Hassan pulled money together to give to people of Syria and Iraq, right? After that devastating earthquake. They need it. I don't think that they should need it. The fact that that pull is there, the fact that the need is there is what's disgusting. Turkey, thank you. Syrian Turkey, thank you. Sorry, I'm racist, so I think all Middle Eastern countries look the same. Not that the people look the same, just the countries themselves look the same. And then this brings us to this woman. This woman, Brett Cooper. You may be wondering, I said Brett. That is her real name. Her name is unironically Brett. It's very funny. She works for the Daily Wire, as you can see with the Daily Wire logo here. And she, for some reason, looks more like Ben Shapiro doing drag than even his own sister. It's quite remarkable. But anyways, this is a wine mom who calls the police on black people walking in her neighborhood, cosplaying as a Zoomer who's fed up with the woke nonsense or whatever, who made this video about how Mr. Beast is so base and how anybody criticizing Mr. Beast is like a horrible, terrible person who deserves nothing, I guess.
His money that he has earned to help people. I don't know how they've been able to rationalize that, but let's watch a little compilation to see what they're saying. Get ready for Hassan Piker.
Flashback.
I'm not crazy, right? Like, some people just simply can't get it. It is so insanely frustrating that it's up to like one YouTube guy.
We're seeing people's healthcare be used as like clout harvest, as like virtue signaling, as content.
So then are people not allowed to be charitable because it's all clout? If anybody with influence, if they do anything good for anybody else, it's all for external gain. You people.
It could be. It could be all for external gain, and that's bad. Giving people the money is good. Doing it for external gain is bad. You can do a good thing for ulterior motives. You know that, right? You know that, right? Good things can happen, but you can do them for bad reasons. I'm not in Mr. Beast's brain. I don't know Mr. Beast. I don't agree with Actual Jake's statement here, but I don't know what else Actual Jake had to say because she cut it off and she doesn't necessarily care what he has to say either. So but she's going to comment on it anyways. This is the part, just so you know, this is the part of the video. You've seen it in other videos before if you've been on the channel. This is the part of the video where I look at the camera and I go, bitch, are you stupid? But I don't need to ask that because of course she's stupid. She works for the fucking Daily Wire. It's a prerequisite to getting the job. You have to you take an IQ test, and if you score lower than 60, you get the job immediately. That's the point.
People are so pessimistic and sad. When I say that they find reasons to be angry and turn themselves into victims and create problems that do not exist, this is it in action. If Hassan Piker did something like this, even though I disagree with basically everything he says, I would still think that that is a wonderful thing to do because he is using his money to make a difference in people's lives. He is engaging financially in something that he cares about. That is a good thing regardless of whether you agree with somebody or not. You agree with—
Who said that he didn't or wouldn't? And actually he did. Raised $500,000 in 7 hours. That's crazy. It's almost like you're completely lying about people who have a valid criticism of the system. I swear, I hate these people. I don't like to say I hate people very much, but these people I genuinely hate. I hate them. I don't want them to exist. I don't want them to die. I want them to not exist. That's what I want. I don't want them to die. I just want them to no longer exist anymore. If whatever way that could possibly happen without them dying and without violence being committed against them, that's what I want to happen. All right? Because these creatures, these animals who would never be caught dead helping a homeless veteran to a seat in a homeless shelter, who wouldn't be caught dead preparing food in a food drive, who wouldn't be caught dead raising money for people who are about to get kicked out of their home, who wouldn't be caught dead helping workers in a strike line, in a strike picket line, who wouldn't be caught dead in a food, like in a homeless shelter, helping prepare food for people who are trapped in a cycle of poverty, wouldn't be caught dead helping a single person who needs help. Over here cry and bitch and moan that people like me think that it sucks that these things even have to exist. I hate the idea that we have enough homeless people in this country to fill up that equal to the entire population of Wyoming. It's disgusting. If reptile creatures actually exist, it'd be the people who work at the Daily Wire. I am telling you this now. These people who don't spend any of their money on actual philanthropy, these people who don't spend any of their money helping people who genuinely need it, these people who spend their money giving it to politicians who want to put more people on the street, who want to throw more people in poverty, who want to put more people in the position where they have to beg YouTubers for an ounce of what they need, for an ounce of the basic bottom of our hierarchy of needs. It's disgusting in the richest nation in the world. It is unacceptable and un-American. But they don't care. They could never care less because they've got theirs. Fuck you. That's why. She's made her money and she's getting paid money hand over fist by Ben Shapiro and friends. So why would she care? All she's going to do is just laugh and talk about how funny it is that people are mad that poor people exist in the richest nations in the world and in some of the richest countries in the world who never had the ability to capitalize on the wealth that they've been blessed with. Oh, but that's what's really important. That's what's really important here. It's sick. It's disgusting. And it's gross. It's gross. It really is. Mr.Beast videos like this one should not exist. In a just world, in a good world, in a moral world where in a world that abides by, and I'm going to go real religious tone here, a world that abides by the Bible and God's word when it comes to taking care of the most vulnerable people in need in our societies. This shouldn't exist. This shouldn't be real. There should not be a single soul on God's green earth who needs help from a fucking YouTuber to get what they need. Period. End of story. Mr.Beast shouldn't be here in a hospital helping people who need to see. He should be out doing fucking God knows what, throwing kitchen appliances from like a parking garage and seeing what happens when they hit like when they hit the world's largest block of Jello. Whatever the fuck else that idea that he would have to do. Okay, but not this. This is disgusting. It's not his fault. He's not a bad person for it. We need to do better. There is no reason why these things should be happening. There's no reason why Brett and co should exist in this world. And in a just society, none of them would get any traction or any clout whatsoever. There are way more people who agree with you that Mr.Beast didn't do anything wrong than people who say that he's like evil and Satan or something. Understand that. Everybody who is a good person agrees that these people should be able to go through their government to be able to get what they need. NGOs, YouTubers, billionaires, everything else cannot help everybody who's in need. They just can't. They can't do it. They just can't. Government falls through, and a lot of it is because of creatures like Brett and her friends who spend their entire lives, who make it their entire being to make poor people's lives worse, more torturous, more arduous, and less fulfilling because they think that they deserve it. It's sick and it's disgusting. And there's no reason why government, our government, that is at its heart, it's in the Constitution. These people who make their lives being constitutional conservatives, apparently they've never read the damn paper itself. It's right there in the preamble. The purpose for our government. You know what it is? Promote the general welfare. We got the common defense thing down. Our $1 trillion defense budget is there. Where's our $1 trillion general welfare budget? Where's that? Doesn't exist. Because there's always money for new bombs, for balloons. But somehow there's never enough money to make sure that people get what they need, who can live happy, healthy, fulfilling lives so they can pursue happiness. I don't think the government should control our lives. I think the government should enable us to make our lives what we want of it. That's its job. And the further away we are from that, the further away we are from what this country is supposed to be, the best country in the world. It's gross. So to wrap up, Mr.Beast is not a bad guy. I don't think he's a horrible person. I don't like his videos and I will not be watching them. They make me angry. I already get angry enough by doing the normal politics that we do here, okay? You think I need to look at something sad? I already cover politics as my job. Come on. Cut me some slack. I like to do other things in my spare time. Those videos shouldn't exist because they shouldn't need to. I hope one day in the future that everybody who genuinely needs help can get it. And that's why we're here. And that's why you're here. I hope that you may not be a socialist. You may be just some liberal, lefty, whatever you may be, centrist, maybe even a conservative on some regard. That's what we're here for. That's our job. If you ever wonder why we're here, remember all those people who need help, who live suffering under conservative regimes, who think that they don't deserve the help that they need, that they should go beg on their hands and knees YouTubers to give them an ounce of money because they just happen to be born in a life that does not coincide with the capitalist system that we have today. That's what I think. That's what we're here for, to help those people, to save those people, to do what we can, and to save ourselves while we're at it. That's the point of being a leftist. That's the point of being a lefty, a socialist, whatever you may be. To get into politics, to help the most vulnerable, the ones who need us. And it may be by giving money, it may be by building dual power structures, it may be by building a community farm, it may be by doing anything, it may be by getting sidewalks in your neighborhood, it may be by helping out at an orphanage, it may be by donating your time to a homeless shelter, it may be anything, but they need you. And there are people who need you. You're not here for nothing. You're here to help others. That's what you've been tasked with, and that's what you've been tasked with, I think. And it's a blessing to be given such a job to help others. There's nothing more fulfilling than helping others. And I think that's what Mr.Beast did. There's nothing wrong with making money from getting YouTube videos. There is something wrong with a system that requires that to be parlayed into philanthropy because people suffer needlessly just to make Green Line go up. That's what I think. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.